Good afternoon, Chairwoman Pinto. I am Brian Schwalb, and I have the privilege of serving as the District of Columbia's second independent elected Attorney General. I am acutely aware that district residents have placed great trust in me to use the law to make the district a safer, fairer, and more equitable place to live and to work. I'm committed to doing everything in my power over the next 4 years to honor that trust. Over the last year and a half, OAG has delivered results, quantitative and qualitative, for DC and its residents. I'm grateful for the opportunity this afternoon during this performance oversight hearing to discuss some of those results. And I'm also excited to share with the committee the 4 core priorities I have for building on the Office of Attorney General's record of excellence going forward. There is much more we can and will do to protect the district's legal interest and advance the public interest. Since being sworn in 7 weeks ago, I've been extremely impressed by the state of the office. It's full of dedicated, talented, hardworking, mission-driven professionals doing critically important work every day. Chairwoman Pinto, you know from having served in this office, one of the most striking things about the Office of Attorney General is the breadth of the legal work we do. Our 9 legal divisions handle a wide range of civil, criminal, and regulatory matters, prosecuting juvenile crimes and adult misdemeanors, assisting victims of domestic violence and families seeking financial support for their children, representing the interests of children in abuse and neglect proceedings, pursuing eminent domain, bankruptcy, tax, and contract actions on behalf of the district, representing government agencies in personnel and collective bargaining matters, and providing legal representation and counsel to the mayor, agencies, and the council, advocating for the public interest in land use, environmental, and public integrity matters, and enforcing laws that protect housing rights, workers, anti-discrimination laws, and consumer protection laws. And where our work reveals the need to amend or enact new laws, our legislative affairs and policy team and our legal counsel division work closely with the council and community stakeholders to do so. From a dollars and cents perspective, OAG delivers an excellent ROI, return on investment. In fiscal year 2022, our estimated fiscal contribution to the district was nearly $600 million, $594.9 million to be precise. That's more than 4 times OAG's fiscal 22 annual budget. One of OAG's critical functions is conserving taxpayer dollars when the district and its agencies are sued. In fiscal year 2022, our civil litigation division, commercial division, and personnel, labor, and employment divisions, all supported by our Office of Solicitor General, successfully avoided more than $436 million in potential monetary damage, resolving through motions practice, trial, appeal, and settlement, hundreds of lawsuits and administrative claims. Confronting a realistic monetary exposure of nearly $443 million, OAG successfully resolved such claims for less than $7 million. Additionally, preserved more than $93 million in collected tax revenue, successfully defending tax appeals and other matters. In addition to saving money by avoiding liability, our civil litigation division collected roughly $3 million in administrative penalties. Our child support division collected nearly $50 million, and our public advocacy division collected more than $12 million in penalties and restitution. These dollar figures, of course, do not fully capture the value OAG delivered for the district last year. For example, the Office of Attorney General has devoted significant resources to tackling one of our most pressing public safety threats, gun violence. OAG's Civil Litigation Division and Office of Solicitor General have been working together to defend against lawsuits challenging the district's common sense gun laws, including a prohibition on carrying firearms on public transportation and a prohibition on large capacity magazines. Since the Supreme Court's decision last year in Bruin, we are litigating an ever-growing number of Second Amendment cases. OAG's Public Safety Division prosecutes firearm offenses, juvenile, and adult misdemeanor cases, in every case in which we have sufficient evidence to do so. OAG's Public Advocacy Division filed and won a first-of-its-kind lawsuit against ghost gun manufacturer Polymer 80, which was selling ghost gun kits over the internet. As a result of that lawsuit, Polymer 80 was ordered to pay more than $4 million in penalties and to permanently refrain from selling its frames, receivers, and buy, build, shoot kits to district consumers. Finally, with the help of the council, OAG has continued to expand its Cure the Streets program, a community-based violence interruption program that employs a public health approach to reducing gun violence by disrupting cycles of violence. Last year, the Cure program expanded from 6 to 10 sites, all in neighborhoods that have historically seen the highest amounts of gun violence in our city. Beyond gun violence prosecution and prevention work, OAG has worked closely with our law enforcement partners and other stakeholders to address crime generally in our city. As you know, because we lack statehood, we have a bifurcated criminal justice system. OAG's jurisdiction to prosecute crimes is limited, mostly to juvenile offenders who are 17 or younger. The unelected, presidentially appointed U.S. Attorney Office prosecutes the vast majority of adult criminal cases in our city. Last year, less than 10% of criminal arrests involved children. That has not, however, stopped OAG from taking a leadership role on task forces and other initiatives to address crime generally. For example, we have worked with the U.S. Attorney's Office to establish memoranda of understanding, allowing OAG attorneys to prosecute felony financial elder abuse cases and public corruption cases, two critical areas that, due to resource constraints in the U.S. Attorney's Office, were being under-enforced. And within our purview over juvenile justice, our Public Safety Division aggressively addresses juvenile crime that does occur. We do so in two principal ways. First, by holding kids accountable. That means charging or papering cases and prosecuting them. And second, by implementing evidence-informed approaches to reduce the likelihood that youthful offenders will reoffend. These approaches include the ACE diversion program and OAG's restorative justice program, both of which have shown promise in reducing recidivism. This past year, with the help of the council, OAG nearly doubled the size of its restorative justice program and began incorporating cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, as a key component. OAG is committed to being smart on crime, taking long-term challenges with long-term solutions, and focusing our resources on getting kids back on track and away from the criminal justice system. When we commit ourselves to reducing recidivism, we make DC safer and we enhance public safety. Beyond public safety, OAG has worked to defend district residents' fundamental freedoms. Last year, following the leak of the Supreme Court's draft decision in Dobbs, OAG quickly convened district agencies to prepare for the overruling of Roe versus Wade, a case that for nearly 50 years had protected the fundamental right to make reproductive health decisions free from governmental interference. Over the last 10 months, OAG has continued to lead the district's Roe Rapid Response Group, which includes members of the Mayor's Office of Legal Counsel, DC Health, and other relevant agencies. The Roe Rapid Response Group has focused on researching emerging legal issues related to the overturning of Roe, identifying legislative changes needed to facilitate access to abortion and contraceptive care, and to protecting online privacy of those seeking and providing abortion care. It's included meeting with abortion providers and community nonprofits to understand what their needs and concerns are, and providing information to the public about their rights. OAG has also continued to advocate in court for reproductive freedom. Over the past 17 months, we have joined 9 friend of the court briefs across the country, arguing against the draconian, extremely troubling restrictions that other states are trying to impose on access to abortion and contraceptive care. Over the past year and a half, OAG has also aggressively deployed the district's consumer protection, housing, workers' rights, anti-discrimination, and environmental laws. There's nowhere near enough time today to recount all of those victories, but I will highlight a few. As you've heard from some of our public witnesses, OAG recently resolved a lawsuit against the owners of an apartment complex in Ward 5 who are engaging in the illegal practice of constructive eviction. That's forcing tenants to live in terrible conditions in order to push them out to make way for market rate development. As a result of the lawsuit, the owners have made significant repairs to the property and will pay the district $1 million, the majority of which will be used to provide restitution to the tenants. Importantly, the owners agreed to sign an affordable housing covenant that runs with the land, ensuring that the property will remain rent stabilized for over the next 25 years, regardless of ownership change. This is just one example of how OAG, through an innovative settlement term, uses the law to help preserve affordable housing in the district. OAG has also recently secured a settlement that requires 3 real estate companies to pay $10 million for illegally discriminating against housing voucher holders, a major win in the district's efforts to protect tenants from source of income discrimination. And in the past 6 months, OAG announced settlements with Drizzly and Instacart, requiring the companies to pay millions of dollars for failing to ensure that tips went to workers and for failing to pay sales taxes. There is a lot of work to be proud of. As we move forward, OAG will continue to engage in all of this important work. We will continue to deliver substantial ROI for the district and its residents. And in focusing on that work that lies ahead, I'd like to take a few minutes to share some of my thinking about how we will go about doing this critical work together. Based on the input from thousands of residents gathered over the course of my campaign and then during my transition, 4 core organizing principles will guide OAG's work during my tenure. The first is enhancing public safety by focusing on the development of healthy, independent, hopeful kids. Hopeful kids are safer kids to themselves and those around them. Right now, public safety is top of mind for many district residents. It's top of mind for me and for my team. Everyone in the district, no matter where they live, deserves to feel safe in their neighborhood. And when people don't feel safe, we don't get to the other critical issues we as a community need to address: affordable housing, reinvigorating the downtown business district, narrowing wealth and income gaps, and many more. While OAG's criminal jurisdiction is largely limited to juvenile crime, and while juvenile crime represents a small fraction of crime in our city, any crime involving a young person, whether they are a victim or an offender, is one crime too many. Under my leadership, OAG will continue to do everything we can to ensure kids are doing the right thing. As part of this, we will hold young people accountable when they commit crimes. We will prosecute carjacking and gun offenses when we have sufficient admissible evidence to do so. And equally important, we will step up our efforts to stop juvenile crime before it happens by making sure all kids have the support, structure, and safe places they need to be successful kids, to be able to make mistakes and learn from them without losing their liberty or worse, their lives. Research shows that young people who have access to safe and stable housing, positive after-school activities, mentors, and meaningful economic opportunities are less likely to commit crime and are more likely to lead healthy, hopeful lives. As we move forward over the coming months and years, I will focus on how we can best leverage the resources across all of OAG's divisions to better support kids and their families. My second priority is using the law to narrow and ultimately eliminate equity gaps in our city. The district enjoys abundant resources, but too often those resources and the opportunities that those resources create are not shared equally. We continue to confront staggering income and wealth gaps that divide along racial lines. I'm committed to using the law to root out these inequities. We will aggressively go after bad actors that engage in discriminatory practices, including practices that make it more expensive to build a business or own property east of the river, and practices that make it more difficult to access healthcare and healthy food in certain neighborhoods. We will continue to go after landlords who seek to displace longtime residents in order to make bigger profits, employers who cheat workers out of their hard-earned wages, unscrupulous companies that seek to profit by preying on our seniors and consumers and teenagers, and procurement and contracting practices that unfairly benefit some to the detriment of others. The third focus area is fighting for fundamental democratic values. This includes defending district residents' right to be free from racism, bigotry, and hate, the right to reproductive freedom, the right to study Black history, the right to love who we choose to love. This also includes forcefully advocating for statehood and home rule. The U.S. House of Representatives' recent vote to disapprove the Council's revised Criminal Code Act and the Local Resident Voting Rights Act has once again underscored that until D.C. is granted full rights of statehood, we will continue to be used as a pawn by national politicians engaging in a divisive national discourse. As the district's chief legal officer, I will fight to defend our democratically enacted laws and our fundamental right to control our local affairs. The fourth and final focus for me is continuing to build on the institutional excellence of the Office of Attorney General. This includes recruiting, training, and retaining top diverse talent, using high-quality research and data to drive our work and measure our success, and streamlining processes to make our work more efficient and effective. This also includes enhancing the way the Office of Attorney General engages in community. I'm committed to ensuring that the Office of Attorney General is in a constant two-way conversation with community. Our clients are not only the district government and agencies. We are the people's lawyers, entrusted to defend the public interest. To do our job, we must be in constant communication with district residents to ensure that their concerns inform our work. I'm incredibly thankful to have had the opportunity to hear from many witnesses and community members today about the issues they hope to see the Office of Attorney General tackle in the coming months. It's very nice to hear complimentary words, but we also want to hear when we can do things better. And I have taken notes and listened intently today. My team and I are committed to regularly seeking input from residents, especially young people, about the issues they're confronting. We've hit the ground running already, attending numerous community events and organizing a series of listening tours set to begin next week, the first in Ward 2, Councilwoman Pinto. I hope that folks will join us for those events and continue to engage with our office. In conclusion, I'm grateful and excited for the opportunity to build upon the great work Office of Attorney General accomplished during fiscal year 2022 and before that. Together, I and my colleagues pledge to work every day to make the Office of Attorney General the best law firm in the country. After all, the district and its residents deserve nothing less. I'm here with my team. As the new kid on the block, there may be some questions you have that I may not know the answer to, so I want to make sure that the people who do have the answer are here to answer any questions you might have. I'm confident if I don't know the answer, I can turn to one of them to help. I'm looking forward to having a conversation, and thank you for listening to me.